Well, hello, everyone. My name's John Paul. I'm AAA's car doctor and Senior Manager of Public Affairs and Traffic Safety for AAA Northeast. And recently, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration came out with a app for your phone that can help you with recall information. And what I know about recalls is there's a lot of them that happen. It doesn't mean you have a bad car because you got a recall. It doesn't all, recalls are actually good things. And it doesn't mean that your car was cheap because expensive cars get recalled. And the app makes it really easy. A while ago, there was, you could go on the NHTSA website or SaferCar.gov, and you could put in your vehicle identification number and know if your specific car was recalled. Now, you guys have taken it a step further and have a phone app, which I downloaded on my iPhone, and apparently my wife's Volkswagen is recalled. So I learned that it's part of the new airbag recall. So, and with us, from NHTSA is here to explain a little bit about the app, and I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Good morning, John. My name is Stephen Ridella. I'm the Director of the Office of Defects Investigations at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. My office in particular does a lot of things regarding defects in cars. Defects are things that happen when a braking system breaks down or something in the design falters during usage, could be during manufacturing, and those defects add up in a lot of different cars or a lot of different car models. Manufacturers will recall those cars, and my office also manages all the recalls that come in literally every day in our office. We get on a yearly basis hundreds of recalls. Last year, over 900 recalls of vehicles and equipment. And we manage those recalls for the car companies send us information every month about how often people are bringing their cars in to get completed. So this app was put out to have people get more comfortable in looking for their car. It doesn't have a recall. This app now automatically pings you when you have a recall that's announced by a car company. Makes it very easy. You get the notification, take it in the dealer, get it fixed for free.
And that's a good point. Some people, I got an email from someone a couple weeks ago when they realized their car had a recall and they were concerned about a cost involved, and there is no cost involved.
There's never a cost involved. Recalls are always free. Recalls never expire. We've had cars that we know that have 20-year recalls. We see sometimes people bring their car inside and have no idea that it was under a recall. And cars are sold a lot these days, as we know, and cars last a lot longer. So people are selling a car, 2, 3, 4, 5 owners can get it, and then they wouldn't have any idea they have a recall. So this app is making it extremely easy. To buy a new car, you put the VIN, your vehicle identification number, into the app, and automatically, as the app is looking for recalls all the time, it'll notify you if you have a recall. So that's really important, and you can take it in and get it fixed.
And some recalls are fairly minor. Some are maybe just documentation. It was when the vehicle was manufactured, maybe it was missing an airbag warning sticker or something like that. And other times they can, literally the wheels can fall off, right?
That's true. Every recall is what we call an unreasonable risk to safety. That is, the defect was bad enough that the company, or in some cases, we actually influenced the recall of the manufacturer, thought that the defect was bad enough that it could be cause of crash, cause an injury. But sometimes people perceive them maybe as not as serious as others, but they're all unreasonable risks to safety. So we urge everybody, if you get any kind of a recall notice, to take it in, because it'll be safer for you.
And I read somewhere once that when it comes to recalls, people aren't very good at getting them done. I've heard somewhere in the 60% range or so of recalls get completed sometimes.
Well, it depends on the recall. We've seen some recalls get as high as, well, we've had some 100% because it's a trucking fleet that had a recall and all of them get fixed. But we've seen some recalls where they're only like 30, 40%. A lot of factors go into what the success of a recall completion is. On average, about 25% of cars out there who have an open recall have not yet been fixed. So we try our darndest to get people to come in, anything to do to get them come into the dealership to get it fixed, because those numbers can be low. We've seen numbers low as 40%, high as 100%. But we're doing a lot more these days. Car companies are doing a lot more these days to notify people, not just by mail, but by phone call, by text, by Twitter, by anything they can do to get company or people to bring their cars in for a repair, because it's as I said, it's free. We know it can be inconvenient, but dealers are going out of their way to even go pick up cars during this pandemic time and bring them back to you after they've repaired the recall. So we've seen a lot of different ways that the companies are using to get people to come in and get their vehicles fixed.
Yeah, it really makes sense. And I know that Honda, with the airbag recall, they at one point, some of the original Hondas that still hadn't been recalled, they hired private investigators, I guess, to go out and try to find the people that own these cars and get them brought in so they could get the airbags fixed, because those airbags were some of the very first, and they were the ones that you had a really, really good chance of getting hurt if the airbag deployed.
That's totally correct. We actually had those on what we call a do not drive campaign. That is, they were so dangerous that we advised people to have their cars brought in immediately, if not towed into the dealership, so that they could get them fixed. Those were pretty bad. Honda hired a team of people to go out and canvass neighborhoods where they had addresses of people, and they could go and knock on doors and say, hey, look, you've got a very dangerous vehicle. What can we do to help you get it fixed? It's very effective, actually.
I bet it was. And, airbag recalls seem to be the one we hear an awful lot about. Over the years, there's been everything from, Toyota with floor mat issues and accelerator pedal issues and things like that. And like you said, the dealers in a lot of cases are, picking the cars up. I remember this was years and years ago. I think it was Saturn had a big recall, and they had a barbecue. So you'd bring your car in, they'd give you a hamburger or a hot dog or something, and or a veggie burger, and you'd get your car fixed, and they made a little party out of it. So some manufacturers are really, like you said, it's in their best interest. It's certainly in the consumer's best interest to make sure these recalls get completed.
Right. We've seen a lot of those kind of events, and we really encourage them. We've seen them to be effective. It makes a better relationship between the dealership and the customer, and it's a win-win for everybody, because dealers get to meet their people, maybe future sales, all sorts of things can happen. But it's really the safety issue that we're most concerned with, is that getting those people to get their cars in. I keep saying it over and over again. I'll keep saying it because it's just that important, that whatever means they can get somebody to come in, we encourage it.
Yeah, and it's not just, we hear about cars and trucks. I'm a child passenger safety instructor as well. Car seats get recalled all the time too, for everything from issues with flammability to harness straps to latch plates to all kinds of parts and pieces of a car seat can be recalled. And this app also, you can check that information as well, right?
Right, you can check car seats, tires, other equipment, trailers, anything that's got an identification number. You can put it in, or make and model. We've got it tracked. So we're working with all the companies that try to update their databases as much as possible. Car seats in particular have a lower completion rate because people tend to not send their registration form in. That little thing you get attached to the car seat, they're making it easier to put it in electronically, go online and do it. So we think that we really want to work with car seat manufacturers to get it done. Tires as well. Tires are very important, as we know, as a piece of equipment. I put my tire in. We call it the virtual garage. When you put the app in, you put your VIN in. I put my car in, put my other family members' cars in. I put my tires in, and it'll ping you when you get a recall on it. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I always try to remind people that if all things are going correctly, the tire is the only part of the car that ever touches the ground. Yeah. So it's a very, very important piece of your car. And you can have the highest performance engine and the best brakes in the world, but if you have a tire failure, well, all of that extra technology isn't going to help. So you want to make sure that tires are a critical part of your car. You want to make sure your tires are in good shape. But like you said, tires get recalled just like cars get recalled.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Over time, certainly, the recall process to me, up until this app, was pretty easy. I mean, I remember years ago, you kind of got a window of, it could be from here, this serial number to this serial number. And then once you started being able to put the vehicle identification number in, now it was really right down to your specific vehicle. And maybe your car had a recall and it was repaired, so more about that. I try to encourage people as well, and now with the app, it makes it so much easier, is, if you are used car shopping, whether it's a private party or a car dealership, um, check the vehicle identification number, and especially if it's a dealership that has a car for sale, kind of let them do the work, so say, hey, I'm happy to buy the car, but I noticed it has an open recall on something. Get that taken care of, and let's get the deal done. So you're making life a lot easier, I think, for car buyers.
Right, and that's the important thing. First of all, brand new cars can't be sold with an open recall. That's prohibited by law. Yep. Used cars, we very much encourage used car dealers to check VINs. They will, a lot of times. I've seen services where they're if you have an open recall, they'll tell you it's there. They may not actually fix it. We encourage them to fix it, but it's the easiest thing in the world. When you're looking at a car, you see the VIN. Just pop the app into the VIN into the app. You got an instant readout. You can actually then negotiate with them and say, hey, look, let's get this fixed before you even buy the car. I think most times you'll see that done.
Yeah. You always have your bargaining power before you pay for it.
Sure.
So, yeah. And speaking of which, the VIN, the 17-digit number, there's letters in there, there's numbers in there. I never know if it's a 0 or an O. I know it's actually a 0 now. But you guys made it easy too. You can scan the VIN.
Exactly. So you open up the door, there's a barcode right there, put your camera up next to it, done. Works out really easy that way. If you don't have one, you have an older car doesn't have it, the VIN, of course, is always located on the lower right-hand side of the windshield, right by the driver's side. It's also stamped on a lot of parts. So lots of ways to get to your VIN. But that barcode scanner thing is really easy. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, we have an older car in our family. It's 11 years old. It's a little tired. I walked out, I found the barcode on the door jamb on the driver's side. I'm like, I wonder if this can actually read this, because it's been around for a while, and it popped it in, no problem whatsoever. So it worked really well. So very impressive. And again, the whole point of this is to make sure that if your car got a recall, to make sure you get it completed. And you brought up two really key reasons that people need to get it done. In addition to the safety part, the recall never expires, and it's done at no charge. So don't be concerned about costs. Don't be concerned about is it possible the dealer's going to say, oh, by the way, while you're in here, we noticed you need this and this. That's fine. That's okay. But if you just go in for the recall and just say, no, I'm here just for the recall, that's all I want to get done. Again, it's done at no charge to the consumer.
That's correct. I mean, people are fearful of that, especially if they're a second or third owner and haven't gone to dealerships. We do know that some dealers are using independent repair facilities to get some recalls done. They're using mobile repair services where you call up the dealer and they say, hey, we'll send a van out to your house. So some recalls are like that, where it's easy to do in your driveway even.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to go to the dealership and feel like you might get sold something you don't want. But we still encourage people to go in. The dealership has all the right parts. In fact, they're required by law to send a letter when parts are available to the consumer. So you get this information sent to you. It's up to you, but we're trying, as I said, trying to make it easy so that if you know there's a recall, you can take it in.
And before I let you go, I have to ask you about the old Chevy behind you with the non-factory wheels on it, by the way.
Those are non-factory, yes.
Yeah. What's the significance of that, and what is it exactly? It looks like
this I acquired this 1973 Chevy Impala a long time ago. We were using it for some testing purposes, and it was in the basement of our garage in the old DOT building. When we moved over to a new building in 2007, we had an idea to, hey, let's restore it and use it kind of as a showpiece for encouraging people to report defects and report recalls. And so we put some money into it and had it restored. The significance of this car, as I told you earlier, was that it's one of the first vehicles manufactured with an actual driver's side and passenger side airbag in it. Those were early vehicles that were built by General Motors and some other companies. And we get reports of these cars crashing. Sometimes they still function. So it's a real showpiece. People love it. We took it to the auto show. This is the auto show in Washington, D.C. back in January. People stop by and just love to look at these old cars. We've restored it very beautifully, and want to use it again in all of our media pieces and also in our public outreach when we go to things like car shows and other events. It's really effective in getting the word out to people about defects and recalls.
And it really demonstrates how airbag technology's changed. The airbag, as I recall in that car, was a pretty big gawky thing behind the in front of the steering wheel. And today, you would not even know an airbag was in a car. The manufacturers have done such a good job of tucking them away and folding them up and really almost making them so you don't even notice they're there.
Absolutely. Space is a premium inside all cars, and the manufacturers of airbags have worked with car companies to make the technology even more incredible. It's come a long way since those early 70s, but it's an important piece of safety equipment in the car, and it's saved many, many lives.
And not a question you might not have an answer to, but it only reminded me when I saw this car. Do airbags ever expire? Do they ever kind of go out of date?
Well, that's a very, very good question. Cars are lasting longer than ever these days. We are concerned about that, and the components that can last, do they last a long time? The car companies have designed these things to last a long time, and we see them functioning in vehicles. But if we see an issue, like we did with Takata airbags, we won't hesitate to work with the companies to say, hey, no matter how old it is, it needs to be replaced. But if they're functioning well and lives are being saved, there's no reason to change. But if there's an issue, like I said, we will take action and get them replaced.
And when it comes to the importance of seatbelts and airbags, and we always try to remind people that the airbag is a supplemental restraint. It works in conjunction with the seatbelt, and you need to make sure you use both of them. You need to make sure your airbags work properly, and you need to make sure you're wearing your seatbelt, because your seatbelt is such a critical part of the safety system inside the car.
Absolutely. Seatbelt use is getting to be as high as it ever has been, but there's still people out there not wearing their belts, and we encourage people, gotta wear their belts. Crashes still occur. Cars are safer than ever, but these devices are there to save your life in that unexpected crash that can occur. So belt use and bag together are just a great system to keep you safe.
Yep. And the app is available now in the App Store for Apple and the Google Play Store. You can download it in both places, and it's free, right?
Absolutely. The app is free. It's downloadable from both those places, like you mentioned, and we're seeing lots of activity. People are downloading it, using it, pass it on to your friends, or just put your neighbors, things in all your family. We've seen all sorts of things people are doing. So definitely download it. It's easy, it's free, and if any issues, people can let us know. We'll be glad to help them out.
So it's an app that's easy, it's free, and it keeps you safe.
Perfectly said.
Sounds like a win. Hey, I want to thank you for taking some time out and joining us on our AAA chat, where we chat about cars and safety things and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I want to wish you well and stay safe.
Thank you very much, John Paul. Good to meet you. Appreciate it very much.